Two.
Sheep going around today, but it's not done with rods and reels or tackle. The rods and reels have been replaced with computers, and the tackle are now unsolicited emails. This is Kevin Britain in response to an unsolicited request. No legitimate buy an email, helping your dreams become reality at the Iredell National Bank. Equal housing lender, member, FDIC.
When it comes to your final arrangements, shouldn't you make the decision? Wishes and desires. Prearranging your own service will help to ease the burden of your loved ones. It will also alleviate any questions, problems, or differences which can occur among family members. Call Clarity Funeral Services today to learn more about prearrangements. 286-4449. 286-4449. Owned and operated by Kelly Clarity. Clarity Funeral Services.
Live from First Aid Bank Studios, good morning. I'm Oran Jackson here with Micah Frazier.
Good morning, McCurtain County.
It's 7 a.m. We're coming this time to reading some scripture. Today it's Romans 12. It says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. This verse, Paul reminds us that real change starts on the inside. The world will always try to pull us into its way of thinking, but God calls us to a higher standard, to let him reshape our minds and hearts. When we allow that renewal, life looks clear, and we find ourselves walking in God's purpose instead of chasing after what everyone else says matters. Again, that was Romans 12:2, and good morning. I'm Oran Jackson, Micah Frazier. You're tuned in to Audible's First 96.7 FM. We have some great country music heading your way. If you'd like a song played, call 286-6642. Here's John Party with Head Over Boots.
Good morning, TJ Ferguson.
What's on topic for today? Red flags.
Red flags. Wasn't going to be red flags for on the first date, but we got some different red flags we don't notice before it's too late. And we got red flags to look for at your job. TJ, what's some red flags in a person that you look for? All right, so let's go with the first red flags to look for on a first date. about attitude towards the wait staff?
100%.
Like,
It's not like to a server or something like that?
yeah, like
That's a
server,
deal breaker,
bartender,
yeah.
like, you know.
That's a deal breaker. You're tuned in to Audible's first 96.7 KBL. Here's your McCurtain County weather forecast. Brought to you by Pine Cellular, coverage when it matters most. A chance of showers and thunderstorms before 7 a.m. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1 p.m. Mostly sunny and high. Highs near 96 degrees. Heat index values as high as 106 today. And for your overnight hours, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly before 7 p.m. Lows around 73 degrees.
Today, our topic of the day is red flags. And we got 3 different categories, red flags to look for on a first date. We also have red flags that we don't notice until it's too late. And then red flags to look for at your job. Call in 286-6642. Let us know the red flags that you notice, whether on a first date, maybe one you didn't notice until it was too late, or one at your job. How about they talk over you and never ask questions? You know, you're not on a date anymore. You're the audience. You know, one that gives you their life story and they just never give you that chance to reply. And how about being rude to the staff? That's kind of, you know, you know, staff, you know, people make mistakes. You know, maybe they overcooked your steak. Maybe they didn't cook it enough.
I wouldn't call that a red flag. That's a deal breaker for me. I mean, if you're rude to the server, I mean,
like, you know, they mess up. You know, everybody's got, you know, everybody messes up. So, you know, it's fine. You know, okay, you know, they'll fix whatever they messed up. They're gonna ask you, well, how was it was a little bit, you know, I wanted to cook a little bit more, or I wanted to cook less. Okay, we'll get you another one. It'll be, you know, about 10, 15 minutes. But if that's, you know, too much for you to, you know, how about the person waiting in line for their fries at a restaurant, or, you know, at a chain restaurant where, you know, they're out of fries, they're mad because they have to wait on fries. They got to wait another 2 minutes for fries. Call in, let us know the red flags that you notice on a first date, some that you didn't notice before it was too late, and some that you look for in a job. 286-6642. And we got Hillbilly Bones by Blake Shelton.
what's the biggest red flag you've ever ignored? Is there a red flag that's a deal breaker for you every time?
I think a lot of people ignore the bad side because they're too. They ignore a lot of red flags strictly because they want to hang out with that person or they want to date that person so bad that they overlook everything. You know, maybe in the relationship, they're not meeting you halfway. You know, maybe you're the only one working and trying to build as a family, and maybe they don't have a job or they try not to keep a job. They're not, you know, nobody really has their dream job yet. You know, it's always kind of working towards it, trying to find it, whether you're in school or something like that. But you got a lot of people that they're still doing the same thing they were when they were younger. And sometimes you just got, like, they're always going to do that. That's the best they're going to do. That's all they want. So they're never going to excel. They're never going to try to move up or try to find another job where they can help their family out even more.
You're talking about red flags?
Yeah, like they just like say you're in a relationship, you're trying to build, you're trying to get that home, you're trying to build.
Yeah. Okay.
And say you have a significant other that they always find a reason to quit that job. They always find a reason to, well, they just didn't, I just didn't like it there. So you're never actually building because you're the only one keeping us afloat because they're constantly taking a dive. It's never well, I'm gonna stick it out with you. I don't like this job, but I'll do it until I find something else. Or, just that building process.
Like, is that a red flag?
To me, at a certain point, because it depends on what y'all are trying to do. If y'all are just dating and y'all don't have a household and stuff, that's fine. But at some point, y'all want to have kids, y'all want to build, y'all want to build your empire. Majority of the people are going to have jobs that you don't like. You're going to have bosses you don't like. But it's more about, now, if they're treating you like dirt, I understand. But a lot of people find red flags that, well, they want me to come in at 8 o'clock. I was only late 7 minutes, Oran Jackson. And they want to write me up for that, man.
Like, what would I do if, like,
someone with,
I'm confused.
Someone with more excuses for why they can't get to.
I would simply just not be in that relationship. That it's simple as.
And see, people overlook that. You got a lot of people that they're in these relationships, and they make excuses for them. Well, he just don't like it over there. He just didn't, this and that. And it's usually the people that can get a job like that. Any job they apply for, they can get it like that. They got the charisma or something that, boom, spot on, they're hired. And then the next thing you know, 2 weeks later, it just didn't work out. I ain't like it over there. So you're constantly looking for employment. So you never really get to build because, well, we got to wait till he finds another job. And then, so you're never really building. Some people will believe the lies, just a habitual liar, strictly because they like that person or love that person. And everybody else can see have you ever had a friend that you knew they could do better, but they were just too caught up on that person?
Of course.
They overlook the red flags. And it does no good to tell them, because until they see it, it's only going to cause friction.
They're only going to learn the hard way.
Yeah. And it'll only cause friction between you and that friend if you bring it up. All right, that was Swing by Trace Adkins. Today, on Out of Bill's first 96.7 KBEL, we're talking about red flags. How about some red flags we don't notice until it's too late? Maybe they never apologize. They just explain. So watch out for the master of excuses and no accountability. Out where they're at, it's always somebody else's fault. How about everything's toxic family? At some point, if you have a bad relationship with 30 people, maybe it's not them. If this person, and they fired them because they didn't like them. countless jobs. Maybe it's not the bosses. There, at some point you got to look. There's a common denominator in here, and you're a part of it. If everywhere you go a fight starts breaking out, well, you might want to look in the mirror. If everywhere you go an argument starts breaking, maybe you ought to look in the mirror. 50 people can't be wrong. 50 different people that don't even know each other. If y'all have the same problem, maybe it's not them. What about they make subtle jabs at you? Like, that low key, just they play it off and they laugh at it. Maybe it's your weight or your hair or something. I was gonna do that, but I don't want to look broke or something like that. We're just I'm just playing stuff like that, and it's short little jabs. Do you take that personal? Should you take it personal?
You should not.
Like just little jabs like that. Are those red flags that you look for? What about their phone never leaves their hand? Is that a red flag? Constantly, you're on a date and they never put their phone down. You're trying to have a conversation.
They're just not interested in you.
Possibly. Or maybe they are, but they're too into their phone. Because that could be it. Maybe they just aren't interested in you. But then, you never call them back, and they're like, well, what happened? We had a good date. No, we didn't. You were on your phone the whole time. I thought you weren't interested. What about they can't stop mentioning their ex? That's got to be one of the worst ones. And there's things to do. Never mention your ex on the first date. Ever. We're here to help y'all out. Maybe you're doing some of these things. Maybe you're like, wow, I do that a lot. Self-reflection will go a long way with y'all. Let us know any red flags that you look for, whether you're dating, whether, something that you've noticed about your spouse for the last 10 years that you've just gotten over, but you noticed that they do that or they used to do that and y'all worked through it. 286-6642. Also, what are some red flags you look for in a job? Because there are some. How about we're all like family? We are all not family because we all have a job to do. And at some point, we're not family anymore. I'm the worker. I'm the one that, I'm production level. You are, senior vice president. We're not the same. We don't do the same thing. We have a main goal, no doubt. But are we really like family?
So next up, red flags and jobs. Here's Zach Top, I Never Lie. You're listening to Idaho's First, 96.7 KBL. I'm Oran Jackson and Micah Frazier. Next up, red flags and jobs. Is that like actual jobs?
Yeah, just stuff you look for in a job.
Okay, we got high turnover. If everyone keeps quitting, there's a reason. That makes sense.
I had a job where they would never let the person over that department go. I'm not going to say what store. But that was a high turnover rate. Like, I think there's only one person that's been there throughout the years that's still there. Everybody else has basically just quit. Just because they couldn't handle that person over that department.
We got vague job description. They can't explain the role because there's probably 5 jobs in one.
And watch out for that. Well. The doing a lead job but not getting the lead pay. doing someone else's job that's higher up above you, but not getting their pay.
No clear training. They expect you to figure it out day one.
How about safety hazards? That's a big one.
Southeast Autoplex, 1312 Southeast Washington. Item L, you're going to find Kawasaki jet skis. You're going to find Kawasaki side-by-sides. You're going to find Kawasaki four-wheelers. In addition to that, you're going to find Bad Boy mowers and also Bad Boy tractors. And they also picked up a new line of zero-turn mowers, the Ferris line. It's more of a commercial type of zero-turn mowers. Ferris is F-E.
Go back on.
Yeah. You're going to find all this.
All right, we're back on Out of Bill's First 96.7 KBEL with Oran Jackson and Micah Frazier. How's everybody doing today? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. Luckily,
What'd you do last night?
Chilling, man.
Just another day.
Enjoyed the heat a little bit, if that makes sense. Not really when you get sweaty. Like it seems like it takes forever for the house to cool down. Like once you get out in the heat, then you try to go back in to cool off, and it just feels like you can never cool off till you take a shower.
Yeah.
For me, it's like you got to take a shower. It's where we've hit the summer hour, the summer heat that we used to get back in July and June.
I saw our puddles out there.
Oh yeah, we got some rain
last night.
Early this morning, and it just seems. We talked about that. We take for granted the weather this summer. Like it's been beautiful up, until now. It still kind of is. It's just we're finally getting that actual summer air and summer heat. And I'm doing wonderful because we got a job that we love to do. So I don't really see any red flags where we're at.
I love it.
We love it here. We're here to help you, and. I've had a lot of different jobs, and let's talk about the HR existing to protect the company, not necessarily you. And that's not a jab at HRs. Everybody's got a role to play. Everybody does what they're supposed to do. But back to yesterday, the pet peeve, why do I get a doctor's note if it still counts against me? That makes no sense. Make it make sense. And you know what? If you're in HR and you can call in and let me know why. Like if it's still going to count against me, I don't need a doctor's note. To me, as an employee, maybe your employees don't want to tell you that, But you know what? I'm not your employee, so I can tell you that. It makes no sense to me. If you can make it make sense, I would love for you to call up here, 286-6642, and explain why I need a doctor's note when it's still going to count against me. I'm still pushing for that first write-up or that verbal. But until then, we got 7 Summers by Morgan Wallen. Call in and get your request in, 286-6642 here on 96.7 KBEL.
No room for growth. If the job feels like a dead end, it probably is.
I had one of those. I worked in maintenance. I'm not going to say where, but it was here in Idabel. And the guy I was working with, he was getting ready to retire within the next some odd years. So I'm helping him with maintenance. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that job: electrical, plumbing, carpentry, all that stuff. So I took what I could from that, but that was one of the jobs I had to go because it was only me and him, and he's been talking about he's going to retire. So I'm thinking, and mine was part-time. It was only Monday through Thursday, which worked out well for me because I was around your age. That's perfect. 32 hours a week. At the time, I think it was like $8 an hour, which was decent back then. This is like 2008, 2009. Perfect for me. I'm off Fridays. So when I get paid, every other Friday, boom, I'm off. I stick through it 3 summers. At the end of this, or right before the next summer started, he's telling me that this and that, and he basically tells me when they hire somebody else over you, they'll probably do something different. And I'm like, hold up. Hire somebody else over me? Why wouldn't I be the next in line to, like, okay, if you're going to retire, like, wouldn't I be your trainee pretty much? Like, okay, we're training him up for these years until he retires. Once he retires, then you can take over that position. Then we'll hire somebody under you. That only makes sense to me. Like, if I'm putting in the years, I'm putting in the time, I'm doing most of the work at this point because he was older. So I'm climbing the ladders, changing the light bulbs on the outdoor signs, 30 feet in the air. Because it's like, I'm your age right now. I'm not gonna let some old dude do that stuff. I'll do it. I'll do it. That just rubbed me wrong that I'm not even in the running for getting this position once you retire. They're already talking about they'll find somebody else to put in this position. So it's a dead end job. Like, there's only 2 positions here. So if I'm not going to be in the running for that position, which would be full time, there's no need for me to stay here any longer. Literally dead end job. All right, we're back on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL. How about the red flags of somebody escalating too fast? Everything's urgent. Everything is a emergency. They drop something on the floor. Oh my gosh. I thought this and that. It only gets worse as time goes on. What about they're too agreeable? Everything you want to, and don't get me wrong, it's good to, find somebody that matches well with you, but you kind of want somebody that has their own mind, right? Somebody that, you want to know what they think, how they think. You don't want pizza every night, but if you want pizza every night, that's okay with me, Warren Jackson. We like Brooks and Dunn but doesn't necessarily mean we want to hear Brooks and Dunn every. But if that's what you want, Warren Jackson, that's fine. You want that feedback of I don't really I like Morgan Wallen better. Okay, that's cool. Like I vibe with him too. What about on the job? We talked about the high turnover rate. There's actually companies now that if that's your job, if the company has, to me, a department specifically for hiring, they are doing way too much. That is a high turnover rate. To me, y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Until then, we got Brooks and Dunn, Boot Scoot Boogie. We got Micah's Man Up coming up in about 14 minutes. Stay tuned. 96.7 KBEL. Because the jobs of Indigos, you get, you're like, hey, how do I get hired on that? Oh, talk to Chad. Boom, there's one person, hey, he's the main boss. You made me the manager. Okay, well, let me get your information and I'll have him call you. And he'll set something up. If you got to a point where even department stores, we're not going to name and get free advertisement for. I understand that. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. They have people set in place for their stores worldwide. So, you got to go on the internet and fill out the application and stuff. But if we're just right here and they have the whole department dedicated to hiring and setting up interviews, that's kind of a red flag to me.
You think so?
If we're just here, like we can't do one-on-one. When they used to do one-on-one, it used to be the same way as everywhere else, right? Put your application in. Yeah. Okay, you talk to the manager, then you talk to the hire managers together, do your interview, and then okay, we'll let you know. But you get to meet a face. Now you'll still meet those people, but it's no longer on them. You don't even get to the interview process without the people in front first until they see your application, and then they decide whether they're going to let you set up an interview or not. Sometimes they'll just send you an email. No, you're really not what we're looking for. Sean Douglas says Swinging by John Anderson. He said, boy, you got fired. Look at your shirt. Still smoking. All right, that was Boot Scootin' Boogie by Brooks and Dunn. And we're talking about red flags here, people. And what do you think about no one ever taking a vacation? Or how about, to me, I do not like blackout dates. Like, bro, I did this work, I stayed here for the year to earn these vacation spots. But you can't take any on any holidays. Some of them not even in, like, after the 10th of December, you can't take any more holidays. Or you can't take a vacation. It's not going to get approved. Like, bro, what? No 4th of July. No, you can't take a holiday. You can't take none that week. So you can't even work with, okay, well, we got to work for July. We're going to do our stuff on the 2nd. No, you can't take none that week. You got to wait till after. Like, right before it's already over. Memorial Day weekend, you can't take the end of that week, the week before, or the earlier, they can't even take Tuesday off or Wednesday after Memorial Day. Those are red flags to me, honestly. It's if I get there's production to be made and stuff, but is it really that important to where nobody can take off on these days? That just don't make sense to me. I mean, if I can, let's see who's on the phone. You're live on 96.7 KBEL with Oran Jackson and Micah Frazier. Oh yeah, man. What's that? You what? Oh yeah. They ask you for money. That's where you draw the line at. Definitely.
Hey, did it.
All right.
It's gonna last for $20.
But yeah, y'all let us know the red flags you want, or that you know of, that you've seen at your job, on a first date, stuff that you noticed your spouse, stuff that you overlooked just to date that person. Till then, we got Good Times by Alan Jackson on 96.7 KBEL. Forgot about where. Turning around a good time. Having a good time. Having a good time. know the deal.
Are you gonna play these commercials and then into the Micah's Man Up?
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, that was Alan Jackson with Good Times. We got Micah's Man Up and more red flags to look for on a first date once you overlooked or at your job. Coming up next, right after these commercials. One thing I don't like is a point system. You know what that is?
Mm.
It's what I was talking about where, you got to have a doctor's note for, it's a point system. Basically, you get I think it's 12 days, 12 marks to miss because you get 3 points and then you get your verbal. And it's usually 2 more, then you get your written, a write-up, second write-up, then you're fired. So it just, and I get it. There's a reason for everything, but it's kind of like you punish the people that you are doing good because they don't want a verbal. If somebody misses because their child had something at school, that's a point. You're punishing them for taking off or because their kids gotta, they're singing the deal for Veterans Day at school. So you either miss it or you take a point. That never made sense to me. Or your kid's got a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, and you work from 7 to 3. Basically 3:30 is the last. That's right, McCurtain County. You know what time it is here on Audubell's First, 96.7 KBEL. It's Micah's Men Up here on live on 2:59 in the morning with Oran Jackson and Micah Frazier. How you doing today, Oran Jackson?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing, Micah?
I'm doing awesome. Today, we're talking about being unapologetic about who you are. You got a lot of people that they hide who they are in front of certain people. And I'm gonna tell you, don't do that. Don't make yourself fit in the box to fit somebody's image of you. Be who you are. Let's be real. Be yourself. In a world that's constantly trying to make you smaller, that's an act of rebellion. Every day, we're fed this unspoken rule: don't be too much. You're too loud. You dress too loud. What you got that shirt on for? Where you going? Maybe I just like to look nice. Maybe I just bought this shirt, Oran Jackson, Have you ever had that? And like, where you going? You got a nice shirt on, or
Yeah.
like, man, I just like the shirt.
It's casual.
Yeah, like, don't speak your mind too honestly. That's a problem I have, and that takes time. Like, you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but at some point, I mean, you got to crack some eggs to make an omelet, right?
That's right.
What they don't want to tell you is you can spend your whole life trying to fit in and still be invisible, running with the crowd, getting washed away in the crowd. You can spend your life trying to fit in, or you can choose to show up loud, raw, honest, flawed, and real, and finally be seen. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say. Look, being unapologetically yourself isn't always easy. You might get side-eyed. You're doing too much, Oran Jackson. I don't like the fact that you work out all the time, Oran Jackson. You spend too much time in the gym, man. I don't like that. Just because you feeling yourself, because hey, you getting a little bit more jacked. Arms are getting a little bit bigger, chest getting a little bit, you like to work out. That's what you do. But there's somebody that just, they don't like how you carry yourself. Oh, he thinks it's all that because he goes to the gym. So what? So, Oran Jackson, so what? You own that. You earned it.
I agree 100%. I'm going to be myself at the end of the day.
You may lose some people along the way, and that's fine. But what will you gain? How about self-respect, inner peace, and the kind of energy that draws in the people who actually get you, not the version of you you're pretending to be. Being you, fully you, is not arrogance. It's alignment. It's not ego. It's self-trust. So stop editing your light for rooms that were never meant to hold it. That has been your Micah's Man Up, telling you to be yourself unapologetically here on 96.7 KBEL. And for Sean Duckett, we got John Anderson with Swinging. More red flags coming up. Stay tuned. We were swinging. When I was at Northeastern, I was in this coaching class, and this guy, he taught us, and that's why I don't like the, I'll say it's kind of like you're punishing those who work for you. You're trying to catch the bad ones. That's who you're trying, the people who miss all the time, you're trying to catch them and weed them out. but you're slowly punishing the ones that are always there working, that show up all the time for doctor's appointments. And it makes no sense. And he talked about he worked for a college that it was a soccer coach at Northeastern. And he was teaching this class when I was up there. He said he worked for a different school that they had one player that they were trying to pretty much catch in the act, red-handed.
That's Swinging by John Anderson. I'm Oran Jackson, hanging out with Micah Frazier today, this Wednesday morning.
Beautiful Wednesday morning.
And today it's August 20th, National Radio Day. It's not just any day on the dial. On this very date, back in 1920, the station that would become WWJ Detroit first fired up its daily broadcast. That's more than 100 years of keeping you company, playing your favorite tunes, and bringing you the news. That's crazy. It's Radio Day. My journey with radio has been crazy. It's been crazy ups and downs. I mean, I was just doing the sales side first, and then I got introduced to the on-air side production, and I've completely fell in love with it. I mean, I'm learning. I had a great trainer at Dave the Weird Guy. I'm sure you know him. Great trainer, loved him. Need to get him back on here. Get back on the radio, yeah. But yeah, he trained me a couple months. And yeah, it's August 20th, it's National Radio Day.
And we're glad you're here with us here on Alabama's first 96.7 KBEL. Here's Old Dominion. Yeah, so they was trying to get rid of this player, right? Player had messed up plenty of times and was pretty much toxic to the team. So they're trying to find a way, and so they knew it was a girls team. They knew she was coming in late from past curfew. So the whole point of the story was to do everything on a case-by-case basis, because this coach had put it across the board that if you're late for whatever reason for curfew, you're off the team. It was not the player he was trying to catch. It was one of his best players that never got in trouble, that never did anything that she had a date or something and she ran behind. First time she was ever late, but all the girls knew that she was late. And so the coach had to kick her off the team, because now you put yourself in that position. You were trying to catch this person, but you caught this one instead. So now you got two problems. You still have this person that you were trying to get rid of on the team, and now you just lost one of your best players, because you done told everybody all or nothing. If you're late, you're done. And the only time one of your best players that never caused any drama, the one time they were late was this time. So now you got to cut them loose, because all the other players know. And you can't go back on your word like that.
Facts.
So that's what he was like. That's when I learned you got to do everything by case basis. So, okay, that was the first time. That one was like, okay, well, you're going to have to do laps, but you're not who we're looking for. You know, that's why I don't like the point system. It feels like you're punishing those. And there's some nice people. I never planned on hanging around some of the jobs, but like I said, I'd stick it out till I found something better. And I met a lot of cool people, older people usually along the way, that they kind of treat them bad.
Go live.
Yeah. That was Old Dominion, one-man band. and we're talking about red flags. And here's some common red flags that people will not put up with. Name calling or belittling, public embarrassment or shaming at their job. Or how about someone that talks over you without listening? Where, they don't want to hear what you say. They just get louder and loud. No, you're not going to do. How about that? Lying and dishonesty. Hiding things. That's one of the things. If you have to hide stuff from me, because I've had a boss like that where it just seems like it's nothing, and it's nothing big. It's not a top secret thing. It's just the fact that they don't want any of their employees looking at this for some reason. Like, what do you, and it seems like you're hiding something. And that looks bad on you, honestly, as a boss. It looks like you're hiding something. Manipulating the truth. How many have you ever had that happen? Where they twist your words. That's not what happened, but who they gonna believe? Your boss or you? What about controlling the behavior, dictating who you can see or talk to? Monitoring your phone or socials, making decisions for you without input. And a lot of these, they can be brought on yourself. We talked about that just a while ago. On our Facebook Live, you all should tune in sometime and catch the off-air conversations. Until then, we got When the Sun Goes Down by Kenny Chesney here on 96.7 KBEL.
Oh, well, go on.
I'm gonna play this quick thing. You're tuned into Audible's First, 96.7 KBL, your host Oran Jackson with Micah Frazier.
Good morning, McCurtain County.
And it's August 20, National Radio Day.
You guys mind if I turn on the radio? Radio? I don't want a radio. What about your wife? Radio. Radio.
Am I on the radio?
Oh, radio. Oh, it's just the radio. And the radio. And the radio.
I heard it on the radio. The radio station I work at?
First, I can't use the radio. On the radio? On the radio.
He's on the radio.
That's our broadcast for tonight. Turn off the radio.
All right, that's for National Radio Day, August 20. Thank you so much for choosing us. Audible's First, 96.7 KBL. We got great country music coming your way.
All the pretty girls said I'm going to LA. All the pretty girls said I hate my hair. Talking to the mirror of their underwear. All the lost boys said I just got paid. All the lost boys said I wanna get laid. And the town goes blue and the lights black red. All the lost boys do all the pretty girls say. I'm on for the summer, shooting out the lights. Don't go on the cover on a free night. I'm coming over, call all your friends. Somebody hold me, all the pretty girls say. All the whiskey went to my head. Shut up and kiss me, all the pretty girls said. All the sheriffs said, can you better slow down? All the preachers said, it's a devil's playground. I wonder if they knew they were wasting their breath. All I ever heard was all the pretty girls said. I'm home for the summer, shooting out the lights. Don't blow the cover on a free night. I'm coming over, calling all your friends. Somebody hold me, all the pretty girls said. All the whiskey went through my head. Shut up and kiss me, all the pretty girls said. All 17 said I'm getting All the big dreams, I'm selling all I got. All the high rollers, busy placing their bets. Yeah, I'm headed south 'cause I'm a pretty girl. So I'm home for the summer, shooting out the lights. Don't go to my cover, I'm free tonight. I'm coming over, calling on your friends. Somebody hold me on a pretty girl. Say, the whiskey whipped in my head. Shout out, kiss me on the pretty girl said. All the pretty girls said.
All right, that was All the Pretty Girls by Kenny Chesney. Good morning. It is 8:07 here on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL. And we got our national days. We already know it's National Radio Day. We appreciate you tuning in to us. We'll have your rest of your national days, your notable event, our notable birthdays and memorable events coming up in about 13 minutes. Till then, we got Lainey Wilson with 4x4 by You.
I'm the kind to take the keys. Don't sit in a shotgun seat as I want to.
4x4 by You.
Hypnotized by the white, your hands tended to one's heart. Makes me feel at home. Yeah, boy, right at home. And 4x4 by you, by you to Kentucky, city to the country, here in Timbuktu. Boy, after a long day, you know there ain't no wrong way to drive my crazy in a 4x4 by you. Parked out in the driveway, backed up to the fire on the tailgate, feet on the dashboard. Oh, nothing I would want. Not even nothing but we in slow motion. Up in the mountains or down by the ocean. It's all the same to me. Ain't nowhere I'd rather be than in a 4x4 by you. In White City to LA, city to the country, here in Kalamazoo. Boy, after a long day, you know there ain't no wrong way to drive my crazy in a 4x4 by you. Right beside you. Every morning sun, every afternoon, fly me to the stars, fly me to the moon. In a 4x4 by you, by you to Kentucky, city to the country, here in Timbuktu. Boy, after a long day, you know there ain't no wrong way to drive my crazy in a 4x4 by you. And boy, after a long day, you know there ain't no wrong way to drive my
That was Laney Wilson, 4x4 by you, here on 96.7 KBEL. Topics of the day were red flags, if you didn't get to hear those before. And one of them for red flags while being on a first date was they don't respect your boundaries, even the small ones. If they ignore your no to sharing fries, or what else will they ignore? Casually, just they tell you they're not like other people. That's usually a given that, yeah, they probably are.
I'm different.
Call up here, let us know any red flags that you look for on a first date. 286-6642. We got the national days, notable birthdays, and memorable events coming up at about 8 minutes, and trading lines at 8:30. So stay tuned here on 96.7 KBEL. We got Riley Green with I Wish Grandpa's Never Died.
Wish girls you love never gave back diamond rings. Wish every horse had a swing. Wish kids still learn to say sir and ma'am, how to shake a hand. Wish every state had a burning hand. I wish everybody knew all the words that mama tried. I wish Monday mornings felt just like Friday nights. I wish even cars had truck beds, and every road was laying copperhead, and coolers never run out of cold Bud Light. I wish high school home teams never lost, and back road drinking kids never got caught. I wish the price of gas was low and cotton was high. I wish honky tonks didn't have no closing time. And I wish grandpas never died. I wish some days on the creek bank would never end. Wish I could learn to drive again. Wish the first time 17 she was fine. Everything kids in a Chevrolet could happen every day. I wish everybody overseas was gonna make it home. I wish country music still got played on country radio. I wish the cars had truck beds, and every road was laying copperhead. The coolers never run out of cold Bud Light. I wish high school home teams never lost. Back road drinking kids never got caught. I wish the price of gas was low and cotton was high. I wish honky tonks didn't have no closing time. I wish grandpas never died. I wish good dogs never got played on. I wish farms never got
They got kids playing Uno at Broken Boat. Miss Skelton, I don't know if these high school kids or middle school.
Oh, the middle schoolers?
Either that or high school. They said, I love seeing my students playing Uno the last 10 minutes of class today versus having their head down on their phone. I went up to the school yesterday and we talked about, I had to give my daughter some money for showtime. And I was asking the lady at the office, how are they taking, are they adjusting? And they said they're doing good, like a lot better than. That was Riley Green with "I Wish Grandpa's Never Died." And I got a story, Oran Jackson. I went up to one of our local schools yesterday to give my daughter some money for school for one of their fundraisers. And I'm in the office, and the whole deal for this school year is the no phones. I just seen on one of the school pages where a teacher said she loved seeing her students playing Uno instead of, the last 10 minutes of class, playing Uno with each other rather than everybody on their phones. And, I was at school yesterday, and I'm talking to the lady in the office, who was real nice. And I'm asking her, how are the kids adjusting and stuff? She said, it really hasn't been that bad. And they're already getting used to it. And I think that's kind of what they need. It's good for them to take a break and socially interact in person rather than text messages and, voice messages, just Snapchats and all that stuff like that. So it's good to, let us know if your kids are adjusting well. It may take longer for others, but I think it's good for them. I think just that little break in between, it kind of awakens you. You ever go out, like, let's say you're going out somewhere up in the mountains and you don't get cell service. It kind of feels good after a while. Like you get, what if this happens? What if you'll be all right. And then, finally you just leave your phone in the truck because it does you no good. Unless you want to play a game on it, it does you no good because you can't call, you can't text, you're not getting any messages.
You realize you have a whole entire kind of different life on that cell phone.
Like you don't even worry about the time. You're out there fishing, you're out there hiking, hunting, whatever you do up in them hills, you forget all about social media. You don't care about Facebook and who's doing what and all this stuff. It's just you and your real time in your mind, clearing everything, clearing all the nonsense out.
Like not having my phone eliminates 80% of stress.
Yeah.
Anxiety.
You can just live in the moment, catch those bass out on the river, camping, just sitting around a bunch of people, a bunch of your friends, family, and just sitting around a fire and just talking, having a good conversation. So I think it's good for these kids. Let's go ahead and get into the national days. As we spoke earlier, it is National Radio Day, where we recognize the great invention of the radio, celebrate the news, information, music, and stories carried across the airwaves. August 20th is also National Bacon Lovers Day. It's National Bacon Lovers Day. According to the National Day calendar, they pay tribute to the crispy, chewy, mouth-watering food we call bacon. If you're a fan of smoky, savory, and a bit salty flavor, this food holiday is for you. It's also National Accessible Air Travel Day. On August 20th, National Accessible Air Travel Day focuses on the need for accessible air travel for people with disabilities. And here's a new one that I gotta try. I did not know this existed. National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day. On August 20th, National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day lets you have your chocolate and pie tool in case you forget. National Pecan Pie Day is observed each year on July 12th if chocolate isn't your flavor.
I'm familiar with pecan pie.
Yeah.
Now, chocolate pecan pie.
I would like to try that. Just once, I'll give it a go. But I do love pecan pie. I can't wait for the holidays to start. One of my aunts, she makes homemade pecan pies. But pecans she picks herself. And it's totally different than what you get from the store. And I love them. But those are your national days for August 20th. Your notable birthdays for August 20th is Benjamin Harrison, 1833, the 23rd President of the United States. Kingsley Davis, 1908, sociologist and demographer who coined the term population explosion. Jim Reeves, 1923, country music musician fondly remembered as Gentleman Jim. Don King, 1931, boxing promoter easily identified by his wild hair. Only in America. James Pankow, 1947, musician and founding member of the rock band Chicago. Doug Feger, 1952, musician who co-wrote the 1979 hit song My Sharona. Al Roker, 1954, news anchor, television personality, and author. And Amy Adams, 1974, award-winning actress with lead roles in Enchanted, Julia and Julia, American Hustle, and Big Eyes. Those are all your notable birthdays. And your memorable events for August 20th are 1619, the first known AI is really bad on that one. I don't even know what they're trying to say. 1866, President Johnson formally declares the American Civil War over. 1920, the first commercial radio station, 8MK, begins operations in Detroit. And in 1938, Lou Gehrig hits his 23rd career Grand Slam. That has been your August 20th National Days, notable birthdays, and memorable events. Here on 96.7 KBEL, we got trading lines coming up in about 7 minutes. So get the phone lines ready. Get your birthdays and anniversaries ready. Here we have Darius Rucker with Wagon Wheel, only on the Live on 259 with Oran Jackson and Micah Frazier.
Yeah, bro. They're trying to get you canceled for real.
All right, Facebook, YouTube, we out.
See y'all later.
Tomorrow, 7 a.m.